Hi, everyone. I'm Benita Perkins, Director of Benny Girl Healthy Lifestyle Branding and Communication. Our company works with corporations, governments, other community organizations to underline a healthy lifestyle message, particularly to women of color, to deal with the health disparities that we've endured over the past, God knows how long. Um, I think the pandemic has the silver lining in that has been the opportunity to look at ways that we can have some control over our health through lifestyle behavior. And I know I've been in this industry for quite a while, so I understand exercise helps with illness. We talk about hypertension, we talk about diabetes and how helpful it is. But one of the things that really came through, I think, was its ability to impact our immunity. And so it just kind of highlighted healthy behavior and how much it can really improve our lifestyle and be medicine. So I wanted to get that point across. And that's just been, I mean, for me, it was a revelation in going through this process. So I hope it will be as helpful to you and get you to do some things that maybe you've been thinking about doing, but you haven't quite gotten to it. Let's start. I'm going to share my proverbial screen. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully we're all set here. And I just want to real quick go over, I do consulting with Durham County as an employee wellness programming consultant. And so this webinar is courtesy of Durham County. The compelling link between exercise and immunity. With COVID-19 still a threat, shoring up's one immune system is very important. The CDC and other health experts are asking everyone to keep up with their vaccines to strengthen their ability to fight off COVID-19, the flu, chickenpox. There's lots of vaccines out there to keep us protected, especially those of us with weak immune systems. In addition, these experts are also recommending moderate exercise, like a daily 30-minute walk, which can help our immune systems fight infection. This webinar looks at why exercise, which is in almost everyone's control, makes sense. Studies show that the immune system is very responsive to exercise, with the extent and duration reflecting the degree of physical stress imposed by the workload. Read how hard you're exercising. There is a sweet spot of exercise that provides almost indisputable evidence of its ability to protect the body. Richard Simpson, an associate professor in the Department of Nutritional Sciences at the University of Arizona, notes that performing regular exercise of moderate to vigorous intensity has been shown to improve immune responses to vaccinations, to lower chronic low-grade inflammation, and improve various immune markers in diseases like cancer, HIV, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Adjuvant. I want to highlight this term because as an additive to vaccines, adjuvants boost the vaccine's virus fighting power and improves the immune response of a vaccine. Adjuvants may be added to provide more antibodies or to provide longer lasting immunity. Moderate to vigorous exercise is an immune system adjuvant that improves defense activity and metabolic health. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. Moderate to vigorous exercise is an immune system adjuvant that improves defense activity and metabolic health. The fact that studies confirm exercise's adjuvant qualities for our immune system means it is a powerful confirmation of its ability to help us fend off illness. This slide shows the relative risk of death to illness comparing 3 exercise levels. And this data is supporting a clear inverse relationship between moderate exercise training, and this says illness risk, but the risk of death for these various illness markers. We have hypertension, we have COPD, we have diabetes, smoking, and obesity. And just to explain what a MET is, because we're looking at these METs. One MET, a MET is a metabolic equivalent, and one MET is the energy, is defined as the energy you use when you're resting or sitting still. So an activity that has, say, 5 METs means you're exerting 5 times the energy that you would if you were sitting still. Here, in every case, those who exercise for less than 5 METs had the highest risk of death compared to those who had exercise levels of greater than 8 METs. That's the brown group. They had the lowest risk of death for each and every one of these markers, these illness markers. And note that activity, note that even those who smoked or had obesity or had BMI levels indicating overweight or obesity status still fared better in their risk of death when exercise was part of their lifestyle. So exercise and chronic is really one of those things that is going to improve chronic inflammation, and is something, again, in your control. Chronic inflammation happens when an immunity response lingers, leaving your body in a constant state of alert. When you have chronic inflammation, your body's inflammatory response can eventually start damaging healthy cells, tissues, and organs. Over time, this can lead to DNA damage, tissue death, and internal scarring. Metabolic syndromes, including high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body fat around the waist, high cholesterol, and other chronic inflammation conditions, can lead to the risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, allergies, and specific types of cancer. These syndromes are characterized by high inflammation and immune dysfunction. Other factors contributing to chronic inflammation include smoking, obesity, and alcohol. Exercise training counters these elements of the disease process, stimulating many cellular and molecular changes throughout the body that promote anti-inflammatory and antioxidant responses, and they augment our body's ability to fight disease. Exercise can also delay the onset of age-related dysfunction or aging, some of the issues that come with aging. So today's focus, this webinar is going to look at 3 areas of exercise immunology that have received the most attention from investigators and researchers. Here we have acute effects of exercise on the immune system, some clinical studies to look at, and lastly, the effect of exercise on immunosenses, or the gradual deterioration of the immune system brought on by natural age advancement or aging. So let's first look at the acute effects of exercise on the immune system. Acute exercise, which is defined as moderate to vigorous intensity exercise sessions at 60 to 90% of max heart rate for less than 60 minutes, is considered the sweet spot of exercise. That's the place you want to be, that moderate to vigorous intensity at 60 to 90% of max heart rate for maybe 60 minutes or less. Less is fine. As mentioned, the immune system is very responsive to exercise. Additionally, acute and chronic exercise-induced immune changes, acute and chronic, so I'm just going to say actually acute exercise-induced immune changes are now being described as important for explaining reduced cancer and heart disease among the physically active. And I'm going to say chronic as being consistent. Acute is the level of exercise, that's 60 to 90%. Chronic means you're doing it every day, or at least a couple of times a week. And again, that is one of the important factors for explaining reduced cancer and heart disease. I just wanted to say that one more time for those who are physically active. Let's go over the term immunosurveillance. It's the process by which the cells of an immune system look for and recognize foreign pathogens like bacteria, viruses, precancerous or cancerous cells. During some of the studies of observed sessions of acute exercise, various cells related to immunity increased immunity cell activity and enhanced immunosurveillance, or the process by which cells look for bad things in our body. Also, stress hormones, which can suppress immune cell function, did not reach high levels during short duration, moderate exercise bouts. Regular repeated sessions of exercise conferred multiple health benefits, including decreased illness incidence and dampened systematic inflammation. Each session that was observed, particularly whole body dynamic cardiovascular exercises like walking, mobilized literally billions of immune cells, especially those cell types that are capable of recognizing and killing virus-infected cells. The mobilized cells first entered compartments, tracking to organs and tissues, particularly to the lungs and the gut, where increased immune defense may be required. The immune cells that came out were mobilized, and the immune cells that are mobilized with exercise are primed and looking for a fight. Their frequent recirculation between blood tissues functions to increase immunosurveillance, which in theory makes us more resistant to infection and better equipped to deal with infectious agents if they've gained a foothold in our bodies. Acute exercise is now viewed as an important immunosurveillance additive. Note that a study noted that overexertion and intense exercise, as in the case of athletes performing at high levels, actually reduced the immunity response, indicating that too much exercise at those levels can be detrimental. And now let's look at some clinical trial evidence. These studies have been strong indicators for the positive relationship between exercise and immunity. This first study, upper respiratory tract infection study, here we have a J-curve chart from random, and this a J-curve chart. So this J-curve chart, get it out, summarizes evidence from randomized clinical trials and studies at Loma Linda University on the inverse relationship between moderate exercise training and the incidence of upper respiratory tract infections. The randomized clinical trials, which spanned from 8 weeks to 1 year, showed that participants assigned to moderate exercise programs had 40 to 50% less incidence and durations of URTIs compared with those who did not exercise. And here's the upshot. The reduced symptoms and severity indicated stronger effects than medicines and supplements. Note that those who are assigned to the intense exercise group with prolonged and intensive exercise had higher incidence or durations of URTIs, indicating that exceeding that 60 minutes of exercise above max heart rate for an extended period of time could increase susceptibility to URTIs. Other factors to consider in this study were sleep disruption, diet, stress, all those impact our immune system. But this study shows that there was a real relationship between exercise and the reduction in a virus. This second study appears to confirm these findings. This 12-week upper respiratory tract infection study followed 1,002 adults aged 18 to 85 years old. 60% were female and 40% were male. Here, the number of days with the URTIs was 43% lower in subjects engaged in an average of 5 or more days per week of exercise at 20 minutes per bout, compared with those who are largely sedentary. This relationship persisted even after adjustments for age, education level, marital status, gender, body mass index, and perceived mental stress. Lastly, let's look at the effect of exercise on growing older, immunosensus. Again, immunosensus refers to the gradual deterioration of the immune system brought on by natural age advancement. It's related to an increased susceptibility to infections, autoimmune disease, metabolic diseases, arthritis, and Alzheimer's, or other neurological disorders. Several studies suggest that regular physical exercise is associated with decreased mortality and incident rates for flu and pneumonia in older adults. There is increasing support for improved antibody responses to flu shots and COVID shots in elderly adults who engage in regular exercise training regimes. Regular exercise is capable of regulating the immune system and delaying the onset of immunosensus. Recent evidence supports that immunity can be remodeled during the aging process as a result of interactions with the environment and your lifestyle. And it's also instrumental in shaping immune status in later life, i.e., if you're exercising and eating right now, before you hit, the stage where you're considered elderly, or that transcends that benefit. It starts early and it stays with you as you get older. So it's instrumental in shaping your immune status later in life. Immune system interactions with including nutrition and exercise, mental stress, and other extrinsic factors are considered as crucial modulators for the aging process. So the more you take care of yourself, the more you're going to remodel that process of your immunity and staying healthy. Early cross-sectional studies compared immune functions in highly conditioned and sedentary elderly men and women. One study contrasted immune functions in 30 sedentary women and 12 age-matched, highly conditioned women who were active in state and national games and road events. Again, these are elderly women. The highly conditioned women had significantly higher levels of antibody-making cells, including T cells, and they had reduced illnesses compared with the 30 sedentary women. Another study compared immune functions in 17 runners who had trained for about 17 years and 19 elderly control patients or participants. Again, those who ran reported significantly higher T cell counts. These studies stimulated many additional studies on the effects of exercise training on aging. Data support that habitual exercise is capable of regulating the immune system and delaying the onset of aging, and has been associated with the following: enhanced vaccination response. When you get your flu shot, when you get your COVID-19 shot, you're going to have a better vaccine, is going to be stronger for you. It's just going to have a better response in doing what it's supposed to do with exercise as part of your lifestyle. Lower circulatory levels of inflammatory cytokines, or the kinds of inflammatory cytokines that cause inflammation and worsen metabolic syndromes. Lowered inflammatory response to bacteria challenge. So you didn't get that inflammation response that damages cells when there was a challenge with a bacteria. Lastly, increased T cell proliferation. And this is about your body's disease defense system. The immune system makes B and T cells when exposed to pathogens like viruses and bacteria. T cells have a variety of functions, including killing infected cells and activating or recruiting other immune cells. Once your body fends off a microbe, it retains some disease-fighting cells as memory cells. The next time you're exposed to it, a memory cell is ready to fight against disease again, and this gives your immune system a head start in combating the disease. So in summary, studies show that performing moderate to vigorous exercise for between 20 and 60 minutes is going to be a bonanza for your body's ability to enlist cells that fight virus and bacteria that cause illness. In addition, it's going to reduce anti-inflammatory activity in the body to protect from metabolic syndrome illnesses. Lastly, it's going to delay that aging process, or at least make it so that you have more days of being well than not, because your body is constantly taking care of you. In these uncertain medical times, enlisting every opportunity to improve one's immunity in these uncertain times, enlisting every opportunity to improve one's immunity is critical, and exercise, again, is within almost everyone's reach. And I'm just going to go over a simple example of what acute exercise means. Here we have a 47-year-old woman, an average physical condition. We're going to calculate her max heart rate, which is an industry standard, as 220 minus her age. So in this case, 220 minus 47. So her estimated max heart rate, the rate where she is exercising at the most her body can, withstand, is 173 beats per minute. So her moderate exercise activity rate would be 60% of that, or 104 beats per minute. And we're using 6%, it could be 70%, 80%, somewhere in there is your moderate exercise percentage that you want to use. So in this case, we're using 60%. The recommendation is to walk for a minimum of 20 minutes at a pace that will get the heart rate to at least 104 beats per minute. And let me tell you something, 104 beats per minute, that's walking from your car to your office. I mean, it's extremely attainable. If you're going out for a brisk walk, your heart rate's probably going to get to 120 beats per minute, just walking, just purposely walking. So that's how easy it is to get to this acute exercise space that's going to provide the best benefit for your body in terms of immunity, in terms of, dealing with tackling anti-inflammatory issues that impact disease, as well as the aging process. This is it's something that almost anyone can get to, this rate of exercise. Note that protection occurs when exercise is regularly administered 3 to 5 times per week. You can't exercise on week 1 and then, not do anything for the next 3 weeks and then start again in another month or so. Exercise doesn't work that way. The protection needs to be, the exercise needs to be consistent in order to benefit from the protection. Okay, you've got to make this a lifestyle. It's not a one and done. It's not something you do today and then put off until for another month. But it really is the benefits are extraordinary. Thank you for attending. A bit technical, but the data clearly proves that exercise helps combat illness. It can't eliminate all disease, as is the case with the recently departed Chadwick Boseman of Black Panther fame. But it is a critical tool in reducing its risks. There's always going to be situations where, we've done all we can. But the studies show that at least if you're, moving around and providing your body with healthy lifestyle options, it's going to at least give you the best opportunity to physically be your best. Exercise is one of the best forms of health insurance. I say it all the time. Exercise is one of the best forms of health insurance you can have. Lastly, keep up with your COVID vaccine and your flu vaccine. Thank you so much for participating. I hope you found this information helpful. I find it fascinating and really should be the motivation for just getting out and walking every day if you do nothing else. I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. To reach out to me, you can go to Benita at bennygirl.com. If you've gotten to me through a third source, you're probably seeing that information. Our website, Benita@bennygirl.com. My email, Benita@bennygirl.com, or you can go to our website, bennygirl.com or healthyheritagelifestyle.com. It takes you to the same place. Again, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye.